to whoever.
You gonna behave today?
Huh?
You gonna behave today?
I behave every day.
You got one? All right. Doesn't that be one?
Yeah.
Hey, young lady, how you doing? Pretty good. Doing all right?
Everything's good. What about you?
Glad you can make it. Okay, I appreciate that.
Miss Phyllis, where's the resolution? I don't see the resolution.
Oh, isn't that what's in the thing there? In your chair? It's just like the half a page? This? That's not it. Which resolution?
I sent you 3 attachments.
I got the 4 and this.
You wanna see what I sent you?
Yeah, 'cause
You pass these out too. To everybody. They can print the resolution. Everybody needs one of those.
your minutes. She just fucked up.
It's the same one we already got. Oh, she should have been bringing it around. No, she was bringing it. She asked for it.
Where's she at?
Well, it's a sign in
We got everything? This is from that.
I know. This is that one's yours. She just put it on. Yeah, that's what it's meeting minutes or agenda.
And everybody got one of these, right?
Yeah, I just gave one to Annette. Ashley.
Ashley, you got one of these too.
Deborah got one next to you? Pass me one, King. And Claudette, you want one?
You got everything you need to fix. Put it on and print something off.
I think that's
and then we're gonna get you up in your
Where's D?
No one's gonna trust anything.
Hey, Claudette.
What's going on?
How's it going?
Ever come to
Thank you.
Here it is, right here. Everything, Miss Phillips, you did that.
You get
just all the
this
way
is
down
from
there.
there.
Oh, I was just telling you before we left, yeah, it was down there.
Okay, good, good.
You ready?
Right underneath here.
What charge you?
Yeah. And that way it'll be able to
Y'all ready?
do me a favor.
Annette? You ready?
No.
Okay. It's been a week. Y'all good? Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out. We are going to call the meeting to order now at 6:04 p.m. First action item on our agenda is approval of our board meeting minutes from January 6th. Is there any issues or discussions that we need to have on our last minute meetings? Hearing none, I make a motion to accept our minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes approved. Second item on our list we're going to move up is the updates from our fire chief and our resolution.
I'll start with some updates from December of 2025. Good evening.
Good evening.
Start with some updates for December of '25. We finished the year with 14,642 total incidents. Of that, 11,832 of those incidents were EMS, so just over 80% of those incidents are EMS related. 2,213 of those fire incidents, and another 597 of other incidents, some technical rescue or hazmat, those types of things. So that's about a 1.2% decrease over last year, which we're excited about.
Yeah.
Very much. We are, our EMS personnel, we are now fully staffed. We have brought on another 2 individuals in December, so brings our EMS personnel staffing up to be fully staffed. Caitlin Rose, our community resource specialist, completed her public, fire, and life safety educator training in December. And also in that time period, she taught 37 fire safety lessons in various classrooms throughout the township. I think you've all seen, we've talked before about the new replacement for ladder 64. That was received in December or late November and placed in service here in January. So mid-January, that ladder went in service. So you should see that out and about in the township. We had 2 firefighters that completed their EMT paramedic certification in December. Van Mohammed and Kay Brescher. I wanted to make sure that we congratulate them on their completion of that program. It's a lengthy program and quite an accomplishment to get through. We had 7 recruits that began employment on December 29th. And we'll have one additional one that will be added here in about 2 weeks to that group to bring our total of 8 new firefighters up to as part of that recruit academy that we are currently conducting. And we have 6 individuals that are retiring in 2026. The first of those was Ricardo Vega. He retired on January 11th after 29 plus years. Rafe Bayless. His last shift was, he just retired yesterday, and after, again, 29 plus years. Craig Voigt and Chris Heath both retire later this week on the 13th and 14th this month, and each of those individuals have 34 plus years on the department. So we're excited about for those individuals to begin the next chapter and to enjoy their retirement. Any questions on those items before we move on?
Chief, what is the staffing count now for the EMS team?
33.
Any questions, members?
As soon as this connects and comes up. Talk about as we talk about surplus vehicles, that resolution. I want to talk about just start talking about our vehicle replacement. So the first 3 vehicles that you see listed, that you see shown there, are the first 3 vehicles that the Township Fire Department owned. There's a 1946 Ford tanker in the background. The truck in the middle is a 1951 Ford pumper. And the truck in the foreground there is a 1956 Ford pumper. So those were the first 3 trucks that the fire department owned right around 1957. So as you can imagine, we do continue to update our fleet. This is the picture of the fire department's fleet in the early 1980s, and as to what that looked like. And then here's the most recent picture from what the fleet looked like in 2023. We currently have 8 fire engines. 5 of those are primary engines. 2 of those are reserve, and 1 of those is a training engine. We have 3 ladder trucks. 2 of those are primary apparatus, and 1 of those is a reserve ladder truck. We have 6 ambulances. 4 of those, again, are primary apparatus, and 2 of those are reserve vehicles. We have 4 command vehicles, a vehicle for the battalion chief, the EMS duty officer, a safety officer, and a reserve vehicle as well. And then 5 special service vehicles, between a rope tack and then some tow vehicles and those types of vehicles as well. So that's kind of where our fleet stands today. Quite a difference from where we were in 1957. We talk about the standards that we use for vehicles, and 2 of those standards are shown here. They're NFPA standards, NFPA 1900 and NFPA 1910. Those are the standards for fire apparatus and for ambulances. Those primarily deal with design and construction standards. But the other thing that they do is also they do set age standards for fire apparatus. They do not set any age standards for ambulances or our command or our staff vehicles. So what our schedule, the best practices that we use for our replacement of vehicles, we base it on those NFPA standards. This NFPA standards call for a frontline service for the vehicle to be not more than 15 years. And then for that vehicle to be transferred to a reserve service if it's properly maintained. And then to be removed from service after 25 years. And those are the NFPA standards for fire apparatus. And then additionally, the things that we look at are a number of other things with respect to when we're gauging those fire apparatus. We're going to look at mileage and the vehicle hours. How much has the vehicle been operated? What's the preventative maintenance program that has been used on the vehicle? And what's the quality of our driver training program? And I will say that we have a quality driver training program. We want to look at was the apparatus used within its design specifications? Were we using it for what it was designed for? Differences between a commercial and a custom chassis. That makes a difference in the longevity of a vehicle and how long that vehicle is going to last. We want to look at things like the quality of the components, the manufacturer's workmanship. Do we have, and can we get replacement parts for the vehicle? Sometimes that becomes a problem for us, especially as we get a significant amount of age on a vehicle. And then we'll look at the repair history as well. So those, with those NFPA standards that also play into that, typically we're going to look, you're going to see some critical enhancements in design, safety, and technology as they play a role in that apparatus life cycle. Safety standards, those are things that are being continually updated. Now we have requirements for enclosed cabs. We didn't used to have requirements for the entire cabs of the fire truck to be enclosed. Now we do. Rollover stability, tire pressure indicators, seatbelt warning systems. Now the driver can look at a display and see that, make sure that everybody that's seated in a position has a seatbelt on. We have those abilities. There are things for its road going ability, minimum acceleration, top speeds, work lighting, step lighting. All those types of things also play into that. As well as like for our aerial technology, now where you have the ability to short jack an aerial, which means we don't extend the outriggers all the way out, but we also have an ability to work if we're in a tight space where we can't extend those outriggers all the way out. We also have things like collision avoidance to keep us from being able to run the ladder into the side of the truck. Those things didn't used to be available to us. So our particular replacement schedule for our apparatus, we run 10 to 15 years for our fire apparatus in frontline service. And then we will run 5 to 10 years in reserve service. Our fire apparatus, typically we see about 10,000 miles a year on our fire apparatus. So that puts those apparatus about a little over 100,000 miles typically when they are replaced. Current lead time for fire apparatus is anywhere from 36 to 48 months. So we have to, Ladder 64, which I just spoke about, was just delivered, just placed in service. We ordered that vehicle in September of 2022. So that was a 38-month build in order for that vehicle to be constructed. And that is what we're seeing across the board at this point in time. Our ambulance replacement, again, we don't have NFPA standards to go on there, but we do look at some for useful life. But we do look at some other industry standards. Those industry standards state that the useful life is between 150 and 250,000 miles. And the national average for ambulance life is 5 to 7 years. Recently, Cleveland EMS did a study, and what they found in their study is a national study that they did. They found that the average age was 4.8 years and the 163,000 miles for ambulances in frontline service. And then they found another 3 to 4 years in reserve service, and then they found on average they're permanently retired after 7.8 years. And again, we're looking at a lot of the same things that we looked at for fire apparatus. We're looking at the same things for our ambulance replacement when we do those things as well. And again, we've got critical safety enhancements from NFPA standards. they're working on design and construction. And I won't go into talk necessarily about all those enhancements that there are. That's also plays into that useful life. Our replacement schedule for ambulances, we see an ambulance in frontline service for 4 years. And then what we will do is go through and we will remount. We'll take the box, we'll lift the box off, and we'll put a new chassis underneath it. Once we've remounted that vehicle, we'll see it spend another 3 years in frontline service. And then after that time period, then that vehicle will go to a reserve status and will normally stay in our reserve status for about 3 years before it is completely retired out of the fleet. Our ambulances average about 35 to 40,000 miles a year. So again, by the time that we remount that chassis, we've got about 160,000 miles on that chassis by the time it's remounted. And with our ambulances, current lead time is 18 to 36 months. So our most recent, we have an ambulance that was ordered in October of 2023. It is expected to be received by us in June of this year, June of 26, so 30 months from the time that it was ordered. Our command and staff vehicles, again, there aren't NFPA standards, but our industry standards tell us that the useful life is between 80 and 120,000 miles. The national average for fleet vehicles has a vehicle life of 4 to 6 years. And that's from our fleet manager industry standards for light-duty vehicles. Same types of things that we look through with the other vehicles, we're looking at those items for our command and our staff vehicles as well. Again, we have some fairly substantial investments in design and safety and technology that also play into those roles. Things like ABS, camera systems, driver safety systems, as well as the actual workability of the vehicle. Is the vehicle something that it's easy for us to work within and to utilize? We look for those things as well. So our replacement schedule for our command and our staff vehicles is 5 to 8 years in primary service, and then we will take it and move it to either reserve service, or a lot of times, depending on the type of the vehicle it is, it may be repurposed for something else. And those vehicles normally see about 10 to 20,000 miles a year on those, and depending on the vehicle, the lead time on those vehicles today is about 8 to 18 months, somewhere in there.
What was that last number there?
I'm sorry?
What was the number?
8 to 18 months, current lead time.
Okay.
So the vehicles that I had proposed for us to surplus, the first of those was a 2009 Pierce Aero XT pumper. We originally purchased that vehicle in July of 2009. At the time, we paid $524,000 for it. It was in primary service until 2021, and then it was moved to a reserve status, and most recently it's been used as a training engine. And then that training engine gets replaced with the arrival of new engine 62 that arrived in 2025. We just kind of step things down so that that training engine is the last space in the fleet, and so then that comes out. It's got about 90,000 miles on it, is what's on it right now. Unfortunately, that's not accurate. All the gauges have been replaced on that vehicle, so it is well above 90,000 miles that are on the vehicle. And then because those gauges have all been replaced, engine hours are not available for that apparatus either. We have sent the information on the vehicle out to have it appraised by an online sales site, and they gave us an appraisal value of $75,000 to $90,000 for that vehicle, as it says. And part of that vehicle does also has a current pump test. So because it was a training engine, we would turn around and pump test that vehicle to make sure that its pump is working properly. The next vehicle that we propose to surplus is the 2013 Ferrara Igniter. It's a 107-foot ladder. We purchased it in February of 2014 for $863,000. It was in primary service until 2025. It was actually replaced by the new ladder 64. Most recently, it's operated as a reserve ladder. It's got 64, just almost 65,000 miles on it. Almost 5,844, almost 6,000 hours on it. Unfortunately, this vehicle has, we've seen a lot of downtime with this vehicle. This has been down for 422 plus days since 2022. It has a long history of repairs with us. That's why we have moved it from primary service to, when it came back from its last repair, the crews preferred to stay in the reserve truck as opposed to going back into this truck. So it has a long history of repairs. We've had a number of warranty repairs on it as well. The turntable substructure's been repaired twice. It's had 5 different radiators placed in it over its life. Another $75,000 for various sundry repair items. It has an appraised value of $195,000 to $215,000 as it sets though. And we've made significant repairs to the other reserve ladder that we have. Primary reason for that was because of the unreliability of this vehicle. We made some significant repairs to that reserve ladder, and the crews prefer that ladder over the unreliability of this ladder. So that's why our kind of moving this ladder from a frontline service out of the fleet. The next vehicle is a 2018 Ford E450. It's a Horton ambulance. The box that's on the back of the truck was originally purchased in 2012. We remounted it on its current chassis in 2018, and it was in primary service until 2021. Again, most recently it's operated as a reserve truck, and its place in the reserve fleet was replaced with the arrival of a new Medic 61 that we received in 2025. This chassis has 168,000 miles on it. The box has probably double that on it. It has an appraised value of $30,000 to $40,000. The next vehicle is a 2016 Dodge Ram 1500 pickup. It was purchased in February of 2016. It was in primary service until 2023, and most recently it has been used as a pool vehicle. It has 131,000 miles on it, 1,150 hours. It has an appraised value of $7,500 to $13,000.
Chief, just for those who don't know, like myself, what's a pool vehicle?
It's a vehicle that's basically sets in the parking lot for people for it to be used as it's needed. So if the vehicle's in for oil change, somebody may grab this pool vehicle. So it sets to be used by staff when it's needed.
Okay, thank you for explaining that.
What was the appraised?
This vehicle appraises about $7,500 to $13,000. It's kind of a large range, but that's typical of good, bad, exceptional, whatever anybody's individual classification that they're having to be looking at the time. The next vehicle and the last vehicle that we have is a 2013 Chevrolet HD pickup truck. It was purchased in 2012. It was served in primary service until 2020, when it was replaced. It was repurposed. That's one of those vehicles that we repurposed that vehicle to be used as a tow vehicle for our boats. And most recently, then it has been used as a pool vehicle as well. It's got 129,000 miles on it. It does not have an hour meter on it, and that has an appraised value of $9,500 to $12,000. The last item is to talk about the extrication equipment. Our industry standards call for a useful life of about 18 to 15 years. 10 years is kind of considered the best practice for extrication tools. That being said, the battery life on the tools, those tools that are battery powered, the battery life is about 3 to 5 years. So it's substantially less than what the metal parts are. The metal parts really have an indefinite life, other than wear and tear that comes to them, and we can replace those when those become damaged. It's the plastic and the rubber parts that have a much shorter lifespan on those tools. And then obviously the batteries have the shortest lifespan. So again, things that we look at for our extrication equipment is the usage and intensity. How have they been used? How much have they been used? How hard have they been used? What is our preventative maintenance program on it? We service the tools on an annual basis, so that we have someone come in and service them to make sure that they are operating at their specifications and do whatever service needs to be done on, so we keep them operating correctly as they need to be. Again, the quality of our training program. Are we using the equipment, again, within its design parameters, what it was designed for? What the replacement parts and what's its repair history. We see significant changes in the technology. Continuously gets advanced. We can see significant increases in the cutting force or the spreading force of these tools. Battery technology is constantly changing for us and getting better for us. And we see things with lighter weight as well as technology increases. Our equipment is Holmatro extrication equipment. This stuff was purchased in March of 2019. We have 3 sets of tools per ladder truck. We have 2 ladders, so we have 6 sets of tools. It was originally scheduled for a 26-27 replacement. We were able to move that up a little bit. Our tools receive a heavy amount of usage. Since these tools were purchased, we've had 327 working extrications, and another 1,071 hours of extrication training are on these tools. So they have seen a lot of use as that goes. So that's the extrication equipment that we have. We talk about all those things. We talk about the method that we would use to discard of our surplus equipment. Historically, we've sent items to an auction service over in west central Indiana. When we send it there, it's often being sold for whatever its repurposed value is. It doesn't get sold over there as fire equipment in that respect. It's whatever it can be determined to be. Hey, this is a great tool for. I could do this with it. It's kind of its repurposed value. That's what it sells for. The nice thing about that particular auction house, they don't use reserves, and consequently they don't charge us any fees for the auction. So we don't pay a fee when we send stuff over there. There's also for our apparatus, we would prefer to use a public sale for this, and the biggest. It's an online marketplace. It gives us a digital reach. It's an easier process, but there's been a significant growth in that secondary market. And the reason for that goes back to the amount of lead time, the significant lead times that I spoke about earlier for our apparatus, as well as the new expense, the significantly increased expense of apparatus has really built a significant secondary market for these apparatus. And I think some of that shows in some of those appraisal values that we've received for those vehicles. Historically, the last ambulance that we sold at auction, we sold in 2022, we sold a 2014 ambulance, and we received $7,000 for it. Again, really purchased what its repurposed value is. So, that's the information as to how we determine, the vehicles that we're ready to get rid of, what our normal replacement cycle is, and how we go through those vehicles. Be glad to answer any questions that you have on those. In the interim, I have, this morning, I sent you each some, the fire chief certification form, as well as, asset by asset report, for each of those items that's there. I did adjust that asset by asset report, to include the assets that were not included originally on it when it came to me, as well as to, the little confusion on the Ferrara apparatus.
Thank you for that.
But everything else is, everything's there as you requested for those items.
I want to say thank you, Chief, for providing all of this information. Because now, in the event that we were to get audited, we now have it on record, everything that you explained to us, which was great. Thank you for doing that. And we have physical documentation to provide to them. So I appreciate that. And plus, we needed to understand also what was going on. So I want to thank you for that.
Go ahead, Chief.
So I would ask that you consider these items to surplus, and so that we can remove these items from our rolls.
Any questions from the members of this body to the chief?
Just keep in mind, Member Perkins mentioned at the last meeting regarding when these sales are final, that, you know, you come back to the board in reference to where that money is spent. You know, the board needs to be involved with that surplus.
Just keep in mind that as we bring it back in, we don't, whatever's been appropriated in the budget is what is what's spent. The money just comes back into the coffers, so to speak. We're not re-spending this particular money.
What is it, when you said back into the coffer, identified in what way?
I'm not.
Is it going back into vehicles? Is it going back into
Goes back.
some other kind of, purchase that we've made?
And how do we identify that, to piggyback on that? How do we identify that?
It's not identified.
It's not.
It goes back, it goes, the proceeds from the sale go back into the fund in which the item was originally purchased from. So it goes back into that fund, and it sets in the fund as any other tax receipt or anything else that is received in the fund. It doesn't play into, it doesn't suddenly, let's say we get $100,000 for a vehicle that we sell, that doesn't give us the ability to spend an extra $100,000 somewhere else. Our budget's already been approved to spend, let's say it was approved to spend $300,000, then that's the $300,000 that we have to spend. It doesn't really matter if we add another $100,000 of receipts. It doesn't change anything. We can still only spend $300,000. It's what you originally approved us to spend. Now, unless we come back to you to ask you for an additional appropriation to spend that money, then we could.
Is this the attorney right here?
It is.
Can you explain that to me, please?
Yeah, I mean, that's.
Based off the code, please, explain it based off the
In the
code.
code, and actually, Mr. Bellamy, who's normally here, did talk to the State Board of Accounts to confirm that. So it has to go back to the fund for which it was originally appropriated.
That's what, okay.
And so it's similar to the process when you have a surplus, unexpended.
And who at the SBOA did he speak to?
He didn't give me a name.
Oh, okay. Do you know when he spoke to him?
I don't know.
Okay.
Even though it goes back into the budget in some form or fashion, I'd like it still be identified in some kind of way, so we know exactly what we received from the sale, because some of these numbers are ballpark numbers. So if we sold one apparatus was anywhere between 195,000 to over 200,000. Is there any way, and all I'm asking is maybe there's some kind of bullet point or something that Beth can
Well,
reflect.
when I come back to you and tell you that we've disposed of the
Okay.
item, I'll tell you what we
Okay,
received
just,
for the item.
just,
Yes.
let's list it out
Yeah,
as opposed to verbal.
I can certainly say that. And I believe then in the annual financial report, you would see it.
Yes,
Go
so
ahead, Beth.
it'll be a miscellaneous revenue.
Okay.
And in the line, when you enter the deposit in, you could put in there that this was received for an XYZ vehicle or
Okay.
whatever. So that can be, I mean, in the memo, it can be put in there. But it's considered a miscellaneous revenue, and it just goes back into the cash account, into the fund. And again, it'll be into the fire fund.
All right, but if you can identify that works for me. All right.
Anything else for me?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you provide us with an update on the fire station on 86th Street?
I don't have any significant update. I've still not received any reply from the current landowners to continue or to conduct an updated environmental study. So it would appear that that is, at least at this time, is not an option, as they won't, they have yet to provide me with the authority to have that conducted. So at this point, we are looking at other opportunities that we have with the current site that we have, and obviously still continuing to look for opportunities in the area for new construction as well.
Thanks, that would be great.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you. Any additional questions?
I have a question. I was approached by a couple of the Pike Township residents regarding the new fencing around station, is that 64?
64, yes?
64. Can you bring us up to date on why that happened? Is there some crime issues that we need to be concerned about over there, or
We've
cars,
had some,
folks breaking into cars or something?
over the last couple of years, we've had some incidents where we had an incident where one of the crew members was assaulted in the parking lot at shift change.
When did this happen?
I don't recall sometime, I think it was last year, early last year. I don't recall the date. And in other instances where we've had people that have gotten into the station, an individual came and attacked the fire station, broke windows, threw things, into the window to break the windows at the fire station. So yeah, we've had some issues at that particular fire station, which caused us to look to opportunities that we could better secure that fire station. And that was the reason for our placement of the fence around the parking lot. And we're not going to be able to, we can't secure the front, the front approach doors. We don't want to slow down that that apparatus response. But that station is very good about keeping those doors closed. So that was the reason for those. Was yes, we had some incidents where we didn't feel that was as safe as it could be at that particular station.
How much was that, the fencing?
80,000.
The fencing was 68,000,
Time we're all.
about, for the fencing and getting it all installed and everything, the labor and all of that on that.
And those were grant funds
Okay,
that
very good.
provided that fencing.
Well, I hate that happened. Next time if that ever happens, Chief, please notify us. I mean, of course, priority is definitely the firefighter and the staff, but we would love to offer support any way we can, because we want to make sure you guys are safe over there.
We've been able to take issue or take care of that with what we've been able to do.
Any additional questions, concerns? Thanks, Chief. So I will now open the floor for members to discuss the surplus resolution. I'll open it up for discussions if we have any before I call for a vote. Any discussion? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion to accept and approve the resolution?
Make a motion to accept the resolution number 2026-0127-01.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. The aye has it. All right. Next order of business is our financials from Beth. The floor is yours.
So the first thing on there is the investment report. Which basically what that is for the Board of Finance to look at, and, it's just basically all it is it shows the interest that was made each month on the, account, as our Regions account, and we have a sweep account, which means that the money goes in and then sweeps out every night and leaves the balance in there into the regular account. For last year, we earned $2,051,835.35. I added this with it just so you would know. The second page is basically how we determined how it was allocated. So what we did is we took the prior month's ending balance, and whatever that fund is, whatever the balance was, we allocated it based on the percent of how much that was towards the total balance. And then we allocated it, to each of the funds, the township, the assistance, fire, and then the Cume fund. And so then our ending balance at the end of the year, our checking account balance was, $1,171,420.06. And then the money market, which is the sweep portion of it, is $61,770,000. So the total, because just remember in December, we always receive our property taxes, which is why it's always higher in December. $62,941,420.06. I added on there just so we have our fire risk account, insurance account, which is our retiring health insurance fund, which is the National Bank of Indianapolis. And our average balance is about $1.1 million. Our earnings for 2025 was $56,935.46. And our year-end balance was $1,107,046.27. And that's what it is for that.
Okay. Any questions for Beth or concerns?
A question. I know we have this piece of paper, but what do we have to reconcile these numbers? I mean, other than this,
So you asked for a couple, 3 months. I did bring those and I showed the statement highlighted. If you want to look at those, again, like we said, for preview, the trustee mentioned that you could come review those. I do have those over here if you want to see, so I could highlight so you can see in those particular months that you asked for, that they did get deposited into the account.
okay, so I will be able to go through what you have over there and say January was 142,259,000.
142,000.
I'm sorry, 142,200, that's a lot of money. $142,259.69. So I'll be able to go through and see on every bank statement these numbers.
Well, you could ask me for certain ones, but yes,
Okay,
you
but I'll
can.
be able to reconcile those with those. Okay, what months did I ask for? Because I know I asked for December, because that's the end of
And
the
you asked me
year.
for January,
Uh-huh.
and then you asked me for,
I think June or July or something like that.
October.
Okay,
and then you asked me for December.
okay. Got you for 3, okay. And it'll also be able to tell me the Regions Bank check-in, which is 1 million.
Yeah, well, see, what that is the bank balance after the check, so that does not agree. Now, I've got the sweep account, which that agrees to the penny, and I've got December, so you can see the ending balance of what that is. But the other is there's checks that are outstanding, so,
What about the money market?
yes, and that's what, I do have that, that's what I said, that's the sweep
Okay,
account, so
okay.
yes, I do have that, which is the majority of it. And I have that for December, I mean, I have it for the other months, but December's the one that's you're gonna be able to compare that to see.
For me, I can't speak for the rest of the board because I'm a trustee on the board. Just for me, when I receive just pieces of paper with descriptions and amounts, and I have no way, because you want me to sign this. So that's my signature on here. I don't have any way to reconcile this information. This is a lot of money. I don't look good in orange, so I'm just saying. So I want to, for me, I want to be sure that these numbers are correct. So when I ask for them, it's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of personality issues. It's not because I'm just asking, it's because I want to ensure that the money is there, that these are our taxpayer dollars.
And that's fine, like I said, I did
Yeah.
find the ones you requested.
So, but I've been asking for these since January?
20th.
Which I've had, which I said that you could come up here and see.
But that was after I had to ask for like 7 times. So I'm just saying, in the future, when I ask for something, it's not because I'm just asking, it's because I want to reconcile and make sure everything is accurate.
And that's fine.
Okay, so I'll come over there and look at it before I sign it. And what happened to our meeting that was supposed to be scheduled for February the 17th, where we were supposed to actually approve these minutes?
So we
I
can,
mean, approve the FAFR.
so Member Perkins, are you wanting more time to,
Yes, I do. 'Cause
Reconcile,
I want to
okay.
be able to reconcile these numbers
okay, so,
and ask some more questions if I need to ask them, instead of being forced to sign documents for millions of dollars with my name on it.
all right, well, that's fair. We can definitely table this line item, and get, that way you have time to review, we all have time to review. And then when we meet again on the 17th, we'll be prepared to vote for it or
Yes,
or
thank
not.
you.
Is that fair?
Yes, as long as I have time to review it, just give me some time to look at them.
Trustee Johnson, the 17th work for you?
Yeah, that's fine. It was
It was already scheduled.
yeah, it's already scheduled anyway. That works perfect. No
Okay.
problem.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Beth.
Well, in regard to the finance piece, anytime any kind of documentation is given to us, we should always have backup and not to assume that we're just going to rubber stamp
Exactly.
anything. It's only fair to us so that we doing the right thing by the taxpayers, and that we have a better understanding of what is happening when it comes to, you've heard, I've beaten this drum for 8 years now. And so, for whatever reasons,
You have been receiving the
Okay.
PFR, the
so,
preliminary.
I mean, if we all need just a couple of us, or whatever, to know 3 consists of a meeting, maybe, 1 or 2 of us, or whatever, get with you once a month and go
that's
over
fine.
this stuff,
Yeah.
okay?
Because the AFR is not something I can reconcile. The AFR is just what I showed our constituents here. It's just a piece of paper with numbers. This is a Word document that I can type up right now and have somebody print it. So, but there's no way to prove to them that that money is actually being spent on X, Y, and Z. And I want to make sure, and really to protect the board, because I don't know if anybody's been reading the papers about everything that's been going on in townships, where you have individuals spending money and no one's doing any checks and balances. So we want to avoid that. I don't want to be in the paper for that. That Columbus, Indiana trustee is serving 26 years for spending over $1 million. And he started off small. He spent $1,000 on some cannabis. It's broken down. Went to Australia. But that's because no one was asking the questions. We're asking the questions and we continue to get pushback from everybody. And I don't think that's fair to the taxpayers, period. I'm a taxpayer, I live in Pike. I want to know where my money's going. So, thank you, I appreciate that. I'm gonna leave now because I do not feel good, but thank you all for coming today. I appreciate everyone.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, review of township assistance. Trustee, you have anything you would like to add regarding?
Thank you for
We
that.
need to go over this report here,
Beth just went.
this one here.
That was just the
Before we
first
get
one.
to-
Oh, sorry about it.
That's
Go
okay.
ahead, sorry.
So you also have your financial statements, which is for the year, which is this report.
Yep.
So basically, Again, we're now at 100% of the budget is for this year that was allocated. And we're fine in all funds, but in our township fund, we have only spent 63% in the basic township fund under the general government. And then under the small claims, we had only spent 76%. So overall, in township, we had spent 69% of our income. There was nothing that was over in any category, as far as the personal service, supplies, services, and capital outlays. So everything was within line of where it should be. And then when you go to the assistance, we had, we were fine as far as our general administration, we were at 61%. And then as far as our poor relief, direct services, we had spent 68%, which was made up of our hospital expenses. We didn't spend anything in there, but in our burials, we spent $16,630 of the budget. In our food and household supplies, we had spent $6,788. In our clothing and shoes, we spent $14,964. In our shelter, which is where we had also done portion of the additional appropriation, we spent $320,025. In our public utility, we spent $92,889. And then also in our baby assistance, we spent $1,334 for a total expense of $436,000 that we spent for the year, which is the most we've spent in a long time. But again, just because of the need in the township, there was a bigger need, and I will say in all my townships, there has been a bigger need. So, I mean, obviously, they've been able to get that assistance here for that. And that doesn't include the assistance that they were able to refer to other places as well, which they do a lot of that as well. And then in the fire portion, we had spent 72% of the budget, and again, in all areas, in our personal service supplies, and capital outlays and charges, we were fine in all the categories. And then in our cumulative fire, we spent 94%, which we had, again, was all budgeted, but we spent 94% of that, which was about almost $3.6 million. So overall, for our entire budget, we spent 73% of our budget. So we still stayed well within the means of the budget as far as our expenditures.
What percentage of the additional appropriation did we spend?
I don't have that broken down. I just know the assistance, it's all in that total. And for that total portion, we spent 71% of the assistance that we had for the year. So we had budgeted with the additional appropriation $616,700, and again, we spent the $436,000. So we had $180,700 left on that.
Okay, thank you.
Well, again, I'm beating my drum, as I always do every year. When we have double numbers with seniors in our township that are under the poverty level. Last I read, I think for our teens, we're like 11%. And so, for the life of me, I never will understand how we come in under 75% of spending when we have this issue in our township. You know, I understand the eligibility and all that stuff, but we need to do a better job of reaching people.
They have to ask as well, and not always do they want to come ask.
Well, we need to reach out to people. I think that's part of the problem. You know, there are two articles that came out about a year or so ago, telling trustees how they are underserving their population. And obviously in Pike Township, we didn't pay attention to these two articles. So it really annoys me when I know that there's a need out there. And like I've said in the past, on the southern part of Pike Township, there are a lot of different types of individuals. I see them all the time, kids with no shoes on their feet or having some kind of windbreaker and it's 20 degrees outside. There are services that we can provide right here at the trustee's office. And for the life of me, I'll never understand why we are not doing the absolute best that we can and not hide behind these eligibility guidelines. We could be partnering up with people, we could be giving out coats, a whole bunch of things. I'm not talking about one time a year, I'm talking about year-round. The need is year-round. And as long as I'm sitting on this board, I'm going to continue to fight as hard as I can for people who are in need in this township.
Chair Hicks, can I address
I
that?
turn it back over to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, you may.
I just wanted to share, I also believe in giving 110%. So keep in mind, we have guidelines that we have to follow, and I go beyond those guidelines. I don't turn people away because it's a personality thing or I don't like them, I don't know them. So my caseworkers are here today, and they work hard. That's why I want them to come to these meetings. And you're more than welcome to talk to them. They work their butt off to make sure that we can approve everyone that comes through the door. But there's only so much I can do because, again, the state has put the barriers up. The guidelines are what they are, and I do go over them. We have a couple of individuals, they can share your stories with what they have to go through. Look at Miss Ellie out there shaking her head, because that is hurtful to hear that we're not trying to help anyone. We help everyone, and you're right, Ms. Peterson. We partner with any church, any organization that wants to give out coats. You can come in my office right now. We got gloves, hats, scarves sitting right in the front of the door. So when they come in, they're more than welcome to take whatever they need. And so as the trustee, elected by the people, I'm going to continue to do what I'm supposed to do. And again, we do so much. Even my fire department, they're always collecting and doing things for me to help. So again, anyone that comes through the door, we're going to try and help them. And if I can't help them, which we're not able to put that information on here, we send them to another organization to make sure they can pick up the slack for us. That's what we do, because we care about the people here in the township as well. Just want to share that.
Any additional comments?
Oh, like I said, you know, when we don't spend 25% of the money, that means that people don't know where this building is. And as I mentioned at the last meeting, and some folks were here, you know, there was a senior who said her stuff was out on the street, and we did not help her. You know, the trustees across
I have that
the county-
documentation.
the-
Hold on one second.
Okay.
The trustees across this county go way beyond, outside the scope of, again, the guidelines. We need to stop hiding behind these guidelines and help people. You know, like I said, it bothers me. It really does, because I know we can do better.
Okay, all right, well, we are.
I
you have
just
something
want to
say?
say you might not want to go down that route, because the individual that came and stood before us and
Trust-
said
trust-
wasn't given the information, my caseworker did the research.
Okay.
And that was false
Let's not do that here.
information.
Let's not do that here, y'all. All
Okay,
right, so,
just saying.
yeah, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Beth?
So the last thing is for the annual financial report. I don't know if you want me to go through that, I mean,
No, that's the one we're tabling,
okay.
yeah. But you can talk about the transfers, or is that part of the?
Well, that's
AF?
all
Okay.
part of it, because
Okay.
there are no transfers. I always put that on there in case there were no transfers.
Okay.
And then as far as the encumbrances, there's very few, but again, that's part of the report. So when you, basically, when you approve the report, that's a portion of it.
Okay.
But you have a listing, that's what those two sheets were, basically, with the accounts payable, that's the encumbrances. There's just the three that total 177, 777, 73. And then the receivables, which is the $1.5 million. But again, this is all part of the report, it's in the report, but I just had the backup just in case so you could see that for those. But the rest, I mean, again, this report, again, these are the ones that you do receive on a monthly basis that then become cumulative when we have our meetings. And again, this is just basically a recap of all that, but it's for the entire year, is what this report is that we've had each month. That I have, I always say that people can ask me questions and haven't been asked questions, but again, if everyone can go through this and then send me those questions before the next meeting, then I can have all those things answered.
Oh, perfect. I'll convey that to the board.
Okay.
Appreciate you, Beth. Any additional updates? Okay. Review of Township Assistance Trustee, would you like to talk about that? The guidelines?
I gave you an updated with some more figures to kind of, I'm sorry, you couldn't hear me. I gave you updated documents, the last 4 pages, 4 or 5 pages. Went over the example that was sent to me from Warren Township Trustee's Office and set some of our guidelines, again, along the same as theirs. Give or take, some of ours were higher than Warren Township. We're doing more in the area of burials, cremations, all that was higher than that particular township. And like I shared last month, you have to be mindful, every township is different. There's 9 townships, so we have different guidelines to go within our particular poverty level to represent that township. So no one has one base for everybody. It's gonna be different, but ours are within the guidelines that Board Member Peterson gave us from HUD. And again, just kind of wanted to share that with you so you can look at those. I think you'll be pleased with what we're doing for 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedrooms, all those things. And as I shared last month, when an individual comes for utility assistance, and the caseworkers are here, we normally pay the full amount because we want them to start with a clean slate. We don't have to do that. If you go by the guidelines, you need to pay what the guideline tell you. If your bill is $500 and it only says pay $335, I should be given $335. But again, we try to make sure it's a zero balance so they can start anew for the next month. And we know how these utilities are. And again, I want to thank the board for the additional appropriations. That helps because you just don't know what the forecast is, if that makes sense. We may not spend all the money, but at least we got the cushion there to do what we need to do. And so just wanted to share that with you with those guidelines.
Appreciate it. Any questions on the guidelines?
And I added one other area that other townships don't have. We have a category for diapers because we do give out diapers. We have a diaper bank here. So we do diapers. Again, of course, we do school uniforms. And I did a separate area for clothing vouchers for individuals that may have gotten burned out or just need some clothing. Of course, you're gonna have supplies, household supplies, and then your regular areas, food vouchers for food from Kroger's and so forth like that.
I have a couple of questions. I'm comparing our guidelines with Warren. Warren is probably one of the more financially challenged townships because of their tax base not being there like it used to be with the auto industry and such. So on our guidelines, our monthly allocation to assist on a 1-bedroom is $950. On Warren, for a 1-bedroom, and there's 2 different categories, one with the utilities included, it's $1386. And if the utilities are not included, it's $1267. So Warren's assistance is much stronger than Pike's.
I don't think you have the updated list, Ms. Peterson.
This one.
I said updated guidelines. Again, we updated them, and you still have to go by the poverty level in your township. Again, it's not gonna look like Warren, but because we're different, we have a different tax base, you're correct. So you should have got an updated page 34, 35, 36 on there. Do you have that one?
I see it, again, ours is for a studio, is 1,090.
Right?
And
And look,
Warren's for a studio is 1,118.
again, if you keep going through the list, it's gonna be some variation. Some of it, we're gonna hit the mark, some of it's gonna be more than one. You're just going by one, keep going down the list.
I'm just going by the apartments.
But I'm just saying, we went up from the guidelines from 2023. We're
Yeah, I
going
know.
up.
I know, based on what I gave you from the federal government.
I just don't think you're gonna, well, you guys can vote on it, but I don't think we're gonna come to agreement on everything. The issue here, and what you should just focus on, is that we went up tremendously. And if we're going up, again, Ms. Peterson, I just gave you an example. More than likely, we're gonna pay all of it anyway. These are just guidelines to go by. I get to make the decision. If I wanna give them 1,190, that's what I'll give them, 1,190 to help them. Some people don't want all of it, like someone just said earlier. They just want a little bit to help them. But the caseworkers are here, you can ask them. They will tell you, we'll pay the whole amount. It's just that these are guidelines that you have something to go by, if that makes sense.
I
And we have went up
understand.
tremendously.
I understand,
Hold on, trustee.
Trustee
That's all I
Johnson.
have to say. I mean, I pretty much
hold on one second.
gave
I-
it.
What I would like to do is look further into this without us approving the guidelines
That's
for the
what I
day.
said.
Because I think it would behoove us, and I'm not sure who else has been looking through this stuff. It behooves us to make sure we're making the greatest impact on the people in the community. You know, I really, and I don't want to go back and forth, and this thing should be, you know, not every once in a while. This thing should be updated on a yearly basis so that we can keep up with the economy and inflation and things of that nature.
We go by what's given to us by the State Board of Accounts and the Department of Government Local Finance. You do your guidelines every 2 years. If you have a problem with that, you should be going downtown to the State House and saying what you just said to me. Can we do the guidelines every year instead of every 2 years?
The
That's
statute
what you
says
should be-
every
That's
year.
what you should be doing.
The statute says every year,
Okay, all righty.
because they understand that inflation plays a role into this.
Trustee.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just-
Okay, so we will table this.
Thank you.
No problem. And trustee, I will get with your office as the president of the board to probably create some type of meeting where we can kind of get a better understanding with Member Peterson and the case managers and just go over this in detail. Any additional questions or concerns regarding the guidelines before we move on? Okay. Trustee Johnson, you're up with updates.
Just want to thank everybody for coming this evening. I don't have any updates this evening. All I do is just make sure we continue to be out in the community, to go to all the events that are out there so that individuals know that the trustee's office is here. We were at an event this afternoon over at the Ortho Indy YMCA, which had over 100-plus senior citizens there in attendance, and we shared information of what we're doing at the office, if they needed any help with their utilities, their rental assistance, and so forth. So we're out in the community, and that was in conjunction with our fire public safety educator. She was there as well and did a great presentation on fire safety for the winter months for our senior citizens. So we're out every week in different communities sharing what we do here at the trustee's office so people will know that we are here. What we have upcoming is partnership with Congressman Andre Carson's office. which will take place on February the 25th. And he'll be right here alongside the judge, as he has court on one side, and we have Congressman Carson's, one of his satellite individuals will be here. And if there's any questions about your veteran benefits, Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid, you're more than invited here. That information is on our website. We do a good job with our IT. They put everything up on our website, so everything is out there. We have a website, and we put everything up to inform the residents. Again, Congressman Carson's office will be here on February the 25th from 10 to 12. We thought it'd be a good, I would say, partnership with Judge Stevens. He has court on one side, and if individuals come out of court and want to talk, they can come back over on this side and talk to someone from the congressman's office as well. I think that's about all I have. Can't think of anything else. Yeah, that's all I have.
Any members, any questions for the trustee? Okay. Thank you, trustee.
Thank you.
We will now open the floor for public comments. We have Ms. Pat. How you doing, Ms. Pat? Okay. Can you come to speak to the mic? Thanks.
I just wanted to thank trustee Johnson for what she did to help the individual who was living under I-65 and the bridge on Lafayette Road. And so that does show that she's out in the community trying to help. I'm not sure if other board members, if you got involved, if you did anything in your participation or how you participated in it or not, but if you did, thank you for that too. And also, thank you for the, getting the data center in Pike. Anybody that's signed that proposal disagreed with it, and then any of the board members, if they did it. But I'm also wondering if, as board members, because I know you keep talking about getting information out into the community and looking for Annette Johnson to do it, what do? Do you have anything, details, what you do on a monthly basis to get out to your districts and educate people?
Oh, yeah, I'll go first. So, as I shared with you in one of our last meetings, we've held town halls. We've actually go to our HOA meetings in our district. We do share information from this office, and we also provide our information, so they're able to reach out. You also mentioned about the gentleman under the bridge. I actually reached out to him directly, went to speak with him, and did a welfare check, because I work in mental health. When I approached him, he did not want any services. He was just completely disengaged. So it was a team effort to try to get him housed and supported. So yeah, we're pretty active.
Thank you.
As far as what I do, as I mentioned before, I'm also the club president for the Dem Club. And recently, we had a pretty large event helping families in need in Pike Township. We gave out bikes and groceries. We fed them a hot meal. We're constantly, as a club, looking for ways to help people in Pike Township. So for me, it's ongoing. You know, I do things that I don't even talk about. You know, how I've helped families. I paid rent. I brought furniture. I do things on an individual basis.
And I send out emails on a daily basis to the people in the community about what's going on in Pike Township.
Hi, I'm Deborah Blewett. I try to attend all of the meetings that Ms. Pat keeps me informed on as far as HOA. I don't go to all of them, but I try to attend them. And as I see some of the events online that Annette has or anybody else on the board, I try to be a part of that. And I do, when I'm in the neighborhood and I see someone, I tell them, I give them my number, my email address. Let me know what it is that's bothering you, you know, in the community so that I can try to get some type of response.
And I appreciate it when you bring it to me too.
Yes,
As president
ma'am.
of the HOA. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Pat, just one other comment. Don't forget tomorrow night, we're doing the leak water issue that we have with Citizen Energy and Lebanon Utilities. So we will be fighting that battle too over at New Augusta Public Academy North. And doors open at 6:30, meeting starts at 7. So we're bringing people to talk to us, about, so we can learn and be educated. And then the community gets to decide what they want for their community. Thank you.
Yeah, go.
I know Demetrius was talking about going to Annette's office and maybe communicating with the individuals that work there, and I think it would be a good idea if one or two of the other members on this board can actually go maybe sometimes and shadow them.
Yeah.
And see what they do, so that we'll be more familiar with the process and then be able to maybe make suggestions on, or give them some ideas, because I think that they're pretty open-minded. I work for the state, so I know there are specific, and I mean specific, rules and regulations we have to follow. It's a new day. We don't have a choice. But there are times when you can't bend them. But we need to know, what can we do? What are the limitations, that the committee itself, because we're trying to work together. That's the key. Because we were voted in to help our constituents. And that's what I want to do. And I think they do as well, everybody.
And I just want to kind of give Claudette, she was being very modest about it. When we talk about helping constituents, this is a woman who has literally paid people's bills so AES would not cut their power off. We were at an event testifying at AES, and a resident here in Pike shared that she had just got out of dialysis. She was 75 years old. She came home, her power was cut off. And then they charged her a service fee, connecting service fee, which was just crazy. And Member Peterson here literally paid that woman's entire bill, and it wasn't a cheap bill, and she doesn't get kudos for a lot of those things, nor, she's not boastful about it. But when we talk about helping people, we all help in our own way. But I've seen this woman put her money in her mouth, where her money in her mouth is a lot. Not just once. I can account for 4 different times. Although I can't get a coffee from her, but she'll come up with the money for someone else. So thank you for that, seriously.
Well, I appreciate you saying something.
Ms. Mary?
Hi, my name is Mary Allen. I'm a 27-year resident of Pike Township. Some of my concern had been answered when you came up a minute ago. But I was concerned because I hear in the meetings about outreach and getting to the people. And I've heard it, this isn't the first meeting that I've heard it. So my concern is there any type of can we enhance the outreach program here at the trustee's office to meet the needs of the people so that we can be outcome-based instead of versus politics, all right? The concern I have is when I hear people say that they're on the south end are not getting what they want, then I'm concerned about how effectively we are doing outreach at the trustee's office. Are we connecting with schools, because that's really a good place to connect in partnership with, because kids don't have clothes or whatever. Are we connecting with organizations that could help us? I know we have a township website, but if I don't have no shoes, I probably don't go to the website, okay? So that's my concern, and instead of us keep talking about it at each meeting, can we get to do some work about it? Like establishing an outreach program, if that's what the people are concerned about, the people.
Yeah, yeah. So we do have an outreach person that we employ, and I'm hopeful that we can get together and come up with some strategies. I can tell you, as the chair of this board, if it's a money issue, we will find a money issue to help fund those initiatives. Trustee Johnson, were you about to say something?
I was going to say, we do have a community outreach coordinator. We work with the social worker at Pike schools and other charter schools. So when there is a need for a child that needs something, they make sure they call us. We have a great relationship with the social workers in the schools. So
Is
it's,
that at Pike Township High School?
yes, yes. And so again, we had Sarah Dorsey and Tanya Monet. They are the social workers at the schools, and we have a great relationship. I get emails all the time. We just had a house fire, and the firefighters dealt with that. That family was completely burned out. Firefighters stepped in, took money out of their pocket, paid for, again, room and board, because some of this stuff is out of our, out of our scope, but we do what we can. When you asked about partnerships, here's my pamphlet right here, all these community partnerships, Ortho Indy YMCA, Aluna, the union down the street. We have Community Action of Greater Indianapolis. So we have partnerships with different churches here in Pike Township, our Kiwanis Club, Knights of Columbia, Old National Bank, Shalom Health Center right next door. So we are working nonstop to have partnerships, and the list grows, each year with other businesses that are in Pike Township in the Park 100 area. And so we want to make sure that we provide what we can, and you're more than welcome to take one of these brochures. Thank you.
But how effective are those partnerships? Does anyone ever do an analysis of those partnerships to determine if those partnerships are reaching the people that
Yeah, they do.
about?
Yeah, they,
Just
well,
because we have partnerships,
data.
that always mean those partnerships are.
We have data. We keep the data.
Hold on, Trustee, let her finish. I want to hear what she's saying.
Oh,
So, no,
yes.
I'm not trying to be, but I'm just being.
Yeah. Oh, no, I understand. We have to, because we're getting dollars. We have to.
But those partnerships are just on the paper.
No, not at all.
Because some of our partnerships are, not talking about you.
Right.
Most-
No,
some of our
I get it.
Partnerships are on paper.
Yeah.
But are not effective.
No.
But if I hear a child that does not have no shoes,
Oh,
then I'm not effective.
yeah, we take care of it immediately. If we hear a child has no shoes, we take them down the street to Shoppers World.
Can I ask if your programs are, that you indicate that's going on, are those documented programs?
Yes, they are.
So you keep data?
Yeah, they keep data and we keep data. That's why I'm on my caseworkers every day. When someone comes through that door, make sure they fill out the data sheet so we can have that. But thank you.
Could you state whether the percentage of your partners, how effective those are on a percentage basis? Do you know that?
I would share that the partners that I have, again, it's not just to be on a piece of paper. Everybody on this list works with us in some capacity. In some capacity.
And I get that, trustee Annette, I get that, but I'm a documentation person, so I come back and I'll say, are we documenting
Yes,
those partnerships?
yes,
To indicate whether or not they're really.
yes,
consistent?
yes, yes, I've said that, yes.
So
We
that's
have
been
to.
brought to the board, right?
Yes.
Can I, before, Ms. Mary, you bring out a very good point, okay? And like I said earlier, I've been sitting on this board for 8 years, and just about every other meeting or so, and there's individuals in this room who've heard me ask for that kind of information, okay? How many families have we helped? How many coats did we purchase? Okay? How many rent did we pay? How many people did we bury? Okay? And the response is, it's in the gateway. Okay? So that's the response. And I'm just being upfront, okay? And folks may not like what I'm saying, but you make a very good point. If the data is there, you wouldn't have to ask that question. But the data is not given. Okay?
What I would recommend is I'm a former civil rights director that was governed by a board, okay? So I would recommend that the board start requesting that data in writing, because what I hear a lot around here is a lot of talk. I'm a documentation person. Submit it in writing to justify what you're saying.
You got it. That's the way it'll be.
So we definitely need to do a gap analysis, right? I think we're hearing trustee has connections, we're hearing, well, where are those connections going? There's a gap, right? So we need a gap analysis. So I'm hoping when we put together this working team, we can fill that gap analysis, because also what I'm hearing is trustee's office this, office that, but there's 5 of us, right? We can spread the wealth and the knowledge also. And we need to be a partnership and united to get that information versus us operating independently. Right now, we're one unit of government, township. And that consists of the judge, the constable, the trustee, and the legislative body, which is us. We need to be on one accord. If the judge is dealing with evictions and he's saving people from getting put out, we need to know that. We need to know who to send to the judge, the trustee's office, vice versa. And that's just not happening. It hasn't happened. So I'm hopeful we will put this committee together and we can do a gap analysis and kind of move forward with a solution and a plan. Because we have more than enough money in Pike Township. Our budget is larger than. Sorry about that. Our budget is larger than some counties, and we're just a township. So we can make this work. We can figure this out. All right?
Nicole had a question.
He's on the sign-in sheet.
Oh, she hit on the sign-in sheet.
Sorry, Paul, I have to be a stickler with the rules. I'm sorry. We have, in order for public comments, you have to be on the sign-in sheet. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, okay.
Not gonna make a comment.
You're not on here either, Judge.
I wanted to give, before each of you leave, the list that I require all filers to file evictions. And so in advance of a eviction, when I get served with an eviction, I give them resources that I know. I tell them, these are the people who write checks. So I'll give you this, but if you want to be able to share it with other folks, we've got it in a PDF format so you can email it to people. So
Oh, perfect. Thank you,
good.
Judge. Thank you. Final comment, guys, please, if you're able to come out and have your voices heard with the LEAP project, please do. I mean, we have had a fight in Pike with the data center. We won that fight. Now we're fighting the LEAP project with citizens. So please, please come out. Eagle Creek is in my district, and we should all be concerned here. What were you saying?
I said, when is that?
Tomorrow, it is tomorrow at 6:30 at New Augusta North Public Academy. So this board, we did issue joint statements to citizens to try to push back. So any support you can give, please, you have our support as the board as well as trustees.
You got some extras? Some extras to give out?
Thank you.
There's some up there.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect, perfect. All righty, I'm going to adjourn the meeting. May I get a motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
I was gonna ask you, what happened to this board sheet?
I'm holding on to it because at one night.
Where's the board sheet? Matter of fact,
That was peaceful, wasn't it peaceful?
we have to receive payment for the first
I'm giving them nothing. That ain't part of theirs.
Huh?
They're fine. They're gonna do it at every meeting.
Sorry, Paul, I wasn't trying to give it a
Moon in the store.
for the meeting itself.
Now, this is
The resolution
Like housing, what she was saying, trying to
or,
what's the process you want that?
Yeah, so you can go to State Board of Accounts
Yeah,
and
yeah,
appeal it through there.
yeah, but I think it's one step between. That's not the top.
I'm sorry, Paul, did we sign this?